Berserk has been hyped up to me for the longest time. Everything from the typical anime channels to the booktube channels to even the lifting channels I watch tell me how good this series is. And this was the first manga I had ever read. I was kind of scared I would be disappointed or not like the medium at all. As a fan of anime and a fan of novels, this is like the combination of both. And if I didn't like this, it would be kind of weird. But I have to say, I was not disappointed. Berserk was not the most revolutionary thing besides opening with the main character balls deep in a demon, but I find myself consistently wanting to read the next chapter and thinking about it as I read my other books. So far, I've finished the Black Swordsman arc, and today I will be starting the Golden Age arc, which I've heard so much about and how it's peak fiction today. So my standards are going to be pretty high. But as I said, the Black Swordsman arc was not the most revolutionary thing. I did like the style of the prologue. It intrigued me about this world. I know that the Golden Age arc is like a flashback, and I'm very curious to see how things got to this point of Guts being a complete dickhead. This dude does not hold back, completely selfish, and also a complete badass. I could say it, and I'm gonna say it, but Guts is literally me. Okay, but not really. I'm not quite as much of an asshole as Guts is, but he definitely has the cool character syndrome, and I have fallen for it, despite his tendencies to be a complete and immoral person. Pretty much all of the stories, well, actually all of the stories that I read are of Western origin, so I could already tell that the story structure was going to be a little bit different. I'm kind of used to the arc structure through watching anime, but this felt like we were just thrown into the downward spiral of Guts' life. You know, in a movie and it's like act 2 at the low point where their best friend leaves them and it's all sad before the uptick? Yeah, that feels like where we're at with the first prologue arc. It feels like this arc had two purposes. One, establish Guts' character of being a lost badass who is not the man he used to be, and that this world sucks, because character is not something that is emphasized at all here outside of the few times that Guts shows emotion. Puck is essentially the only other character that's given any other play besides some villains, and I am still not used to the Japanese humor. It just does not hit for me. I guess I am used to it. I just don't really like it. The visual gags or just like the way that these characters go, it's hit or miss for me, and usually it's a miss. But already it seems like we are getting introductions to characters who will be much more interesting with the God Hand. I know a little bit about Griffith, and I feel like that's going to be a lot more compelling than the Count, who was essentially the third most fleshed out character in this first arc. And really creepy art design on these demons, especially the Count. That is something I will give Miura of. He knows how to draw dark. In a novel, you kind of have to visualize it. But the thing about manga is, it's right there. They show you the demons. They're like, yeah, you thought this was what it'll be in your mind and it's gross and disgusting. No, I drew something even creepier. And speaking of the art, goddamn, the big panels or the majority panels where it's just Guts swinging his big heap of iron gets the blood flowing, and I am just playing that Berserk music in my head while I'm reading this page. That is something that I do quite enjoy about this manga medium, is the impact moments. There is less text, but I feel like instead of just reading to figure out what happens like in a novel, when it hits you with a full page splash screen, you're like, oh shit, yeah. Impact moment received. Although Guts seems to have skin and bones of steel, I do enjoy that he outsmarts his opponents just as much as he out-badasses them. As a fellow hunk of iron swinging Chad, I am one to appreciate the moments of just pure willpower and I get shit done because I'm that boy. My favorite one was where he picked up his sword with his teeth and cut the demon's head off. But it becomes less rewarding if that's all there is. Don't get me wrong, I love each and every moment of those, but I was glad that they were equally balanced out with the moments where it's like, okay, he has a brain and he can't just brute force his way through this problem. The themes of not giving up and succeeding over insurmountable odds that are common throughout pretty much every anime I've watched are there, but they're put in a different light. Of it's through pure selfishness and hatred that Guts goes about this. Of it's like the protagonist learned all the right lessons, and then at their critical moment they failed instead of succeeded, and I'm curious to see how he got to this point. He is not a good person, and the only good he performs is by complete accident. It is uncomfortable to root for this dude because he's so goddamn cool, and then him throw an old man on the ground who just saved his life and call him disgusting for being crippled by a horribly evil man. Come on, dude. Chill out a little bit. Although he seems like a selfish prick and is a selfish prick, the heart of gold moments, the few that there were earned. It's more like a heart of dirty, rusty iron, like when he almost gets stabbed by the zombie girl, or when he saves the Count's daughter and Puck can see him crying. You just wonder what got him to such a fucked up mental state. Overall, my first experience reading manga was quite a positive one. Although it was not as deep and as in-depth as I thought it would be, there was a ton promise, and I am looking forward to seeing if it can fulfill that promise. Just based off of everything I heard, I'm sure I will not be disappointed, but it seems like I have a lot to look forward to. Let me know if you guys want to see me cover Berserk. I really kind of am figuring out where I'm going with this channel, and I think Berserk might fit in. Anyways, guys, like and subscribe, check out some of the other content, and see you guys.